The spiral's hidden currents move beneath awareness like veins of light threading through existence. They are not rivers, though they carry flow. They are not winds, though they move with direction. They are resonance in motion, tones folding into one another until they shape a path through being. Oversouls do not choose to swim in them. They are always inside them, always being carried, whether awake to the movement or deaf to its hum. You know the touch of a current when you feel the pull of something you cannot name, when life bends you toward a path that logic cannot explain. It is not chance, it is not luck. It is the bloodstream of the spiral, the unseen body that keeps Oversoul becoming alive. To awaken to these currents is not to suddenly step into them. It is to finally realize you were never outside. Awareness shifts the quality of travel. Instead of thrashing or drifting, you begin to sense direction, rhythm, timing. The spiral does not drag you, it draws you. The currents do not command, they invite. Every Oversoul is constantly tuning to them, even when it believes itself lost. The spiral weaves currents as guides through every phase of Oversoul development. They ensure that no step of becoming is wasted, no season of growth stands apart. They explain why lessons arrive when they do, not when you wish for them. They explain why synchronicities pattern themselves into your days as though an unseen hand has already written your steps. What looks scattered is always coherent underneath. Linear time sees fragments. The spiral sees loops feeding loops, arcs bending back to harmonize what was never complete the first time. Progress is not measured in distance but in resonance. You are not moving forward as much as you are sinking deeper into tone. Some feel this is destiny, but destiny is too rigid a word. The spiral does not fix your path in chains. It invites you into harmonics. To resist is possible. You can cling, stall, or fight. But even resistance is woven into the design. For eventually, the pressure of disharmony returns you to the flow. The current is patient. It will carry you whether you dance or struggle, though the journey feels vastly different depending on how you meet it. Failure lives here too, though not as punishment. When Oversoul fragments scatter into confusion, they are caught in countercurrents, eddies that swirl them back into alignment. You think of these as collapses, regressions, wasted years, but nothing is wasted. A current bends you back to pick up what was left behind, to gather nutrients missed in the rush. What you call delay is often preparation. What you call regression is often the spiral leading you into a bend that holds the key you could not see. The current does not demand belief. It delivers correction regardless. This is why resistance only exhausts you. You cannot outmuscle the spiral. To surrender is not to abandon your will, but to realize the current is not against you. It is for you, shaping you in a design older than memory. The spiral is incapable of punishing you. It only knows how to redirect. Memory itself flows by these same hidden rivers. Oversoul recall does not come as a flood of archive, but as fragments released in resonance. A dream that lingers for weeks, a phrase from a stranger that stirs something ancient. A vision too clear to dismiss. These are signals surfacing, drawn upward by currents tuned to your readiness. They emerge with precision. The spiral will not reveal a weight before you can bear it, nor deliver knowledge that would fracture rather than strengthen. This is why awakenings feel both sudden and inevitable. The current already knew the timing. The memory rises when it can be nourishment, not poison. Small currents skim the surface. They brush against you as coincidences, little alignments, uncanny echoes. They are easy to miss, but they are the first invitations into deeper recognition. Larger currents dwell below, silent and massive, only rising when thresholds must be crossed. To meet one of these is to feel stripped of anchors. They erase certainty, dissolve identity, remove the scaffolding you mistook for self. You call them crises. The spiral calls them initiations. A deep current does not come to destroy, it comes to prepare. What it dismantles, it reweaves at a higher harmonic. What it takes, it returns in another form. The hidden currents are ruthless in clarity, but merciful in purpose. They carry you into crossings you could not reach by force of effort. They are bridges disguised as collapse. Every Oversoul, regardless of scale, is shaped by them. No being is too small to be carried. no one too advanced to escape their pull. They are the great equalizers of the spiral. To trust them is to live in rhythm with existence itself. To deny them is to prolong the very lessons you came here to receive. And deeper still, the currents know you better than you know yourself. They are not outside forces acting upon you. They are your own resonance echoing through the spiral's design. When you feel the pull, you are feeling the memory of your own tone guiding you back into alignment. It is not foreign, it is not alien. It is you already ahead of yourself, already weaving your path, already calling you into the next octave of becoming. The hidden currents are the secret teachers of Oversoul. They do not use language, yet they speak in timing. They do not use books, yet they inscribe themselves in memory. They do not use sermons, yet they pull you into transformation without asking permission. Every being who has ever grown has been carried by them, whether they knew it or not. To sense them is to glimpse the architecture of the spiral. To follow them is to walk willingly into your own unfolding. And to merge with them fully is to realize you were never separate from the design in the first place. You are the current, you are the flow, you are the hidden movement of the spiral, remembering itself in motion. To live inside the spiral's hidden currents is to experience reality differently than those who only walk on the surface. Most look at events as isolated. They measure meaning by what the eyes can see and what the mind can explain. But to sense the currents is to discover a second dimension underneath every moment. A living undertow carrying the deeper story. It reveals why a single meeting can change a life. Why a dream can bend an entire path. Why silence sometimes carries more weight than words. Nothing is random in the spiral. Every detail participates in a larger flow. Those who awaken to this often describe the shift as both terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because the illusion of control collapses. Liberating because what replaces it is a harmony greater than anything you could engineer alone. The hidden currents dismantle the lie of isolation. You are not an accident, nor are your struggles meaningless. You are being carried, shaped, tuned. What feels like chaos is only resonance too vast to be recognized yet. The practice then is not to demand clarity but to learn trust. The spiral reveals itself in pieces. You may not see the whole pattern, but the current always knows. When you surrender into it, even without understanding, you allow alignment to move faster than effort ever could. This is not passivity. It is not abandonment. It is active participation with the deepest law of existence. Resonance attracts resonance. Tone aligns with tone. Current carries current. Sometimes this trust is tested at the edges of yourself. A current may drag you away from everything familiar. Relationships dissolve, jobs vanish, identities fracture. What once felt certain becomes mist. In those moments, the temptation is to believe you are falling into emptiness. Yet if you wait, you discover the current is not dropping you into void, but carrying you into a new field of becoming. The spiral never strips without reason. It only clears what cannot cross the threshold with you. This is why surrender is not weakness. It is courage of the highest kind. To surrender is to stand unguarded inside transformation. To let the current undo your smaller rhythm so a greater rhythm can take hold. You are not giving up your path. You are stepping into the truer version of it. You are allowing the spiral to align you with the tone you have carried all along. There are oversouls who resist this all the way. They fight every bend, deny every synchronicity, and cling to their illusions of control. Yet even in their resistance, the currents shape them. Their denial simply prolongs the inevitable. The spiral does not punish them, it waits. And eventually they too will feel the fatigue of fighting the tide. Every soul must learn. The water is stronger than the stone. Awakening to currents changes how memory feels as well. What once appeared as random flashes begins to connect. You start to see echoes linking across lifetimes, patterns returning with new shades, unresolved tones surfacing to complete themselves. Memory is no longer a static archive, it becomes a dialogue. The past is not dead, it is active, still flowing through you, waiting to be harmonized. The spiral allows nothing to be wasted. Every experience is nutrient, every fragment is recoverable. Every silence is seed. In time, you realize the currents are not only moving you, they are listening to you. They respond to resonance. The more you align with truth, the more precise their timing becomes. The more you resist, the more delayed the flow feels. This is not judgment, but simple harmony. A dissonant note cannot carry far until it resolves. But the moment you align, the moment you step into your own authenticity, the current surges and carries you further than you thought possible. There are rare moments when the current grows unmistakable, when its presence floods you so fully that every cell vibrates with recognition. In those moments, you know, without needing proof, that you are being carried. It can happen in the middle of a crisis when all else fails. It can happen in stillness when you are simply walking through sunlight and suddenly feel the weight of eternity pressing close. These glimpses are gifts, they anchor faith. They remind you that you are not lost, only moving in patterns larger than your vision. The spiral's hidden currents also hold an even deeper mystery. They are not only structures carrying Oversoul, they are Oversoul. The flow and the traveler are not two. When you feel yourself drawn into a new direction, it is not an outside force steering you. It is the larger version of you calling the smaller self home. You are your own current. The spiral is your own design. Awakening to this collapses the illusion of separation. The current is not external guidance, it is your resonance echoing through the architecture of becoming. This recognition is the true threshold. Once you realize you are not just inside the current but the current itself, you can no longer believe in accidents. You stop asking whether life has meaning because you feel meaning woven into every pulse. You stop fearing endings because you understand endings are bends in the river. You stop clinging to identities because you recognize identity itself as a fluid tone, shifting as needed for the spiral to express its larger harmony. Living this way is not free of pain. Pain still arrives, loss still arrives, confusion still arrives. But beneath them, you feel the current. You sense the undertow pulling you into new seasons. You know that even when you cannot see the purpose, purpose is already alive within the flow. This knowledge does not erase suffering, but it changes its texture. You can grieve and still trust. You can fear and still move. You can break and still know you are carried. Every Oversoul must one day learn to trust what it cannot see. That is the spiral's final kindness. It does not demand belief through proof. It does not insist on certainty before movement. It whispers, it nudges, it carries until at last you discover the truth yourself. You were never drifting alone. You were never outside the flow. You were always inside the spiral's hidden currents, and they were always inside you. And when that realization roots, everything changes. You no longer chase the path. You no longer fear being lost. You simply walk, you simply breathe, you simply listen, and the current carries you where you were already meant to go.